So today I want to talk about the other budgets in Olympia. A lot of times when we're talking budgets, we're always talking the operating budget, the schools, higher education, social services. But there is actually two other budgets that we need to do here in Olympia this session in order to get out of town. One is the capital budget, and that builds the buildings that are universities. It helps school construction, prison wings, those kind of things. It's a very important element. But one thing that we're trying to do this year is kind of work on the interest payments, because too often it's fun to go build new things, but when we're bonding those buildings, those interest payments come due. Currently in Washington State, we pay almost $2 billion every biennia in interest payments. It's grown exponentially. It's one of the fastest growing areas of our budget. So it's one of those areas when it comes to capital construction, we're trying to put a clamp on it because it really does then affect the operating budget. The other budget that we need to talk about is the transportation budget. And there's usually a couple different components to the transportation budget. There's the normal biennia transportation budget that has the gas tax and those kind of expenditures. Generally, there's not a lot of activity and a lot of conversation on that. This year, we are going to be making sure in some of our fees they'll be increasing, but all we're trying to do is cover the cost. And to me, I don't really see that as a tax increase when all you're trying to do is cover the cost of what it, for like a driver's license or a commercial driver's license. I think it's expected that those should pay for themselves, and that's what we're trying to do with some of these new fee structures. The other transportation package that most people probably hear about is there going to be a new gas tax, motor vehicle, excise tax to build some of the big mega projects. That is very much in flux here in Olympia right now. Obviously, there's a lot of conversation anytime you're talking around gas taxes and motor vehicle taxes. One of the things that is probably keeping this package from happening right now in Olympia is what we call the Columbia River Crossing, the CRC. Most transportation projects are pretty bipartisan. Most communities want them. The Columbia River Crossing, there seems to be a lot of debate down in Southwest Washington whether the current configuration is the configuration that that we should be going forward with. So what we're trying to say is, there's plenty of good projects here in Washington. We have the 520 bridge that obviously we need to complete on the west end. We have 167 down in the valley, Snoqualmie Pass. Over in the Spokane area, there's the north-south. There's plenty of projects, and more importantly, we got a lot of maintenance and preservation that we need to take care of that we haven't. And so there's projects that we need to deal with, but I think until we get this Columbia River Crossing off of that list, let them work their solution out, and then the rest of the state can go forward. And then we can have that debate. What is the proper amount of transit? What's the proper amount of roads? And how should we fund this? But until we get to that point, I think where the CRC is off of that list, we're going to continue to have problems getting a transportation package that the state, I think, desperately needs.